All right, today we're going to walk through a really powerful, anonymous story that came out of a Kenyan university. It's a heavy one, for sure, but it's an incredibly important cautionary tale about choices, sacrifices, and the crushing pressure to succeed. Just think about these words for a second. Our boy will lift us all. That phrase, it carries the weight of an entire community's hope. This wasn't just a wish, it was the belief, the prayer, the expectation placed right on the shoulders of one young man. And that's where this whole story kicks off. So let's meet the guy at the heart of all this. We're going to call him Ochieng. Now, Ochieng was a big deal. He was the very first person, not just in his family, but in his entire village, to ever get into a university. So you can imagine, this wasn't just a personal win for him, it was a victory for the whole community. And when I say the community invested in this victory, I mean they invested everything. His father sold 2 parcels of precious family land just to cover the fees. He even hired a car, which was a huge, huge deal where they came from, just to drop his son off at the campus gate. Neighbors chipped in what little money they had. The whole village was praying for him, celebrating him. The stakes just could not have been higher. So Achian gets to campus, and boom, he's hit with this sudden, intoxicating wave of freedom. You know, the kind you only get when you're away from home for the first time. But what started out as liberation, well, it soon started to look a lot more like a trap. The dedicated student his village was so proud of, he started to disappear. And the change? Wow, it was like night and day. In his first year, he was the model son, right? Studying hard, calling home every single week, even sending pictures from his lectures to show he was working. But by year 2, he was a completely different person. He was skipping classes, blowing his tuition fees on parties, and totally ignoring the academic warnings that were piling up. And really, it all boiled down to this one thing: freedom. That sweet freedom everyone talks about, being on your own, making your own rules. For Ocheng, it wasn't a tool he used for growth. It became the very thing that started his downward spiral. So his new life just became this blur of clubbing, spending money he didn't really have, and chasing this flashy reputation. He was wearing designer clothes, sponsoring outings for friends, basically creating this image of a successful guy, all funded by the money his father got from sacrificing their land. And here's the craziest part. This entire transformation was a total secret. Back home, his family and the whole village, they had no idea. They still pictured him as their star, their great hope, working hard every day to get that degree. And this lifestyle, of course, led to a complete academic collapse. I mean, it's a predictable path. First, he burns through all the tuition money. Naturally, that leads to him failing courses because he's not even showing up. Then, the university literally locks him out of the exams because he hasn't paid. And the final step? He just quietly dropped out and told absolutely no one. Okay, so let's fast forward. It's the day he was supposed to graduate. Back in his village, you can just imagine the excitement. It was off the charts. This was the moment they had all been waiting for, the day their huge investment was finally going to pay off. His father, just overjoyed and bursting with pride, calls him that morning. And his question is so simple, filled with all the hope a father can have. "You're on the list, right?" In Ocheng, he lies. "Yes, Baba, ready." With just those few words, he sealed his fate. He confirmed the dream was real, and that one lie set in motion this final, absolutely tragic journey for the people who loved him the most. And we're not just talking about his dad showing up. No, no. The lie was so big, the celebration had to match. His father hired an entire school bus. It was packed to the gills with family, friends, and neighbors, all of them singing praises and celebrating this amazing victory that, well, that wasn't even real. So the bus pulls up to the university. Everyone is buzzing, so excited to see their hero in his cap and gown. They park near the graduation field. But Ochieng is nowhere to be found. And slowly, that excitement starts to turn into confusion, and then into real concern. His father starts asking around, showing a picture of his son to other students. And then comes this gut punch of a reply that plants the first seed of doubt. A student recognizes him, but not for being a good student. He says, "Oh, that guy? The flashy one? Always partying?" Can you just imagine hearing that as a parent? So a student leads Ocheng's father to an off-campus hostel, and the scene he walks in on is just devastating.
The room is a total mess. His son is in bed with two girls, and in a room that should have been a center of learning, there wasn't a single book in sight. The dream he had sacrificed everything for had become this nightmare.
The rest of the village crew on the bus, they get tired of waiting, so they come looking. They find the father. They see the scene for themselves. And the aftermath is not what you'd expect. There was no yelling, no dramatic confrontation, just a deep, profound, heavy silence. The shock was just too deep for words. The disappointment was absolute. They just quietly boarded that same bus that had brought them there with so much joy. And the songs of praise were replaced by a deafening silence that lasted the entire journey home. The land was sold for nothing. The dream was shattered. Ochieng's story is such a tragedy, but it holds some incredibly powerful lessons for all of us. So, what can we actually take away from this shattered dream? Well, here are the big ones. That freedom you get at university, it's a test. And your choices are what ultimately define you. The pressure to fit in and the lies you tell to keep up an image, they can literally steal your future. It's so important to honor the sacrifices people make for you. And maybe the most crucial lesson of all, if you feel yourself slipping, get help. Talk to someone. It is never, ever too late to turn back. Which leaves all of us with one final, reflective question. It doesn't matter if you're in school, starting a career, or on any other path in life. It's worth asking yourself, what choices are defining your future?